Hello everybody and welcome to this reading of the Elder Scrolls. I am Double Negative and this is part 5 of the 36 Lessons of Vivec. If you have not listened to the first 4 parts, then please go seek them out. Sermon 25. The Scripture of the City. All cities are born of solid light. Such is my city, his city. But then the light subsides, revealing the bright and terrible angel of Veloth. He is in his pre-chimerical form, demonic Vec, gaunt and pale and beautiful, skin stretched painfully thin on birds' bones, feathered serpents encircling his arms. His wings are spread out behind him, their red and yellow ends like razors in the sun. The wispy mass of his fire hair floats as if under water, milky in the nimbus of light that crowns his head. His presence is undeniable, the awe too much to bear. This is God's city, different from others. Cities from foreign countries put their denizens to sleep and walk to the star-wounded east to pay homage to me. The capital of the northern men, crusty with eon's ice, bows before Vivec the city, me it together. Self-thought streets rush through tunnel blood. I have rebuilt myself. Hyper-eyed signposts along my traffic arm, soon to be an inner sea. My body is crawling with all gathered to see me rising up like a monolithic instrument of pleasure. My spine is the main road to the city that I am. Countless transactions are taking place in veins and catwalks, and the roaming, as they roam over and through and add to me. There are temples erected along the hollow of my skull, and I will ever wear them as a crown, walk across the lips of God. They add new doors to me, and I become effortlessly trans-immortal with the comings and goings of the stride heat of the market where I am traded for. Yell of the children, hear them play. Scoffed at, amused, desired. Paid for in native coin. New minted with my face on one side and my city body on the other. I stare with each new window. Soon I am a million-eyed insect dreaming. Red sparking war trumpets sound like cattle in the ribcage of shuffling transit. The heretics are destroyed on the plaza knees. I flood over into the hills, houses rising like a rash, and I never scratch. Cities are the antidotes to hunting. I raise lanterns to light my hollows, lend wax to the thousands the candlesticks that bear my name again and again. The name innumerable, shutting in, mantra and priest, God City, filling every corner with the naming name, wheeled, circling, running river language giggling with footfalls mating, selling, stealing, searching, and worry not ye who walk with me. This is the flowering scheme of the Arbus. This is the promise of the Sige, egg, image, man, God, city, state. I serve and am served. I am made of wire and string and mortar, and I accede my own precedent, world without am. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 26. Then Vivec left his architectural rapture and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provincial house he looked into the middle world to find the fourth monster, called the Pocket Cabal. The monster hid itself in the spell lists of the great chimera wizards of the extreme east, where the emperor parasols grow wild. Vivec disguised himself as a simple traveler, but radiated a tenuous sense fabric so that the wizards would seek him out. Of Muatra, he made a simple walking dwarf. Before long, the Invisible One was among the libraries of the East, feeding the essential words of the Pocket Cabal to his walking dwarf, and then running when the magic would fail. After a year or two of this thievery, Muatra was sick to its stomach, and the walking dwarf exploded near the slave pens of a wizard's tower. The pocket cabal then slipped itself into the mouths of the slaves and hid again. Vivec then watched as the slaves erupted into babble and breaking magic. They rattled their cages and sung out half hymns that formed into forbidden and arcane knowledge. Litany fiends appeared and drank from the excess. Grabbers from the adjacent place came into the world sideways, the slave talking having disrupted the normal non-cardinal points. So of course a giant bug appeared, with the greatest eastern wizard inside it. He could see past Vivec's disguise and knew of the warrior poet's divinity, but he thought himself so powerful that he talked harshly. "See what you have wrought, silly triune. Columns of nonsense and litany fiends. I cannot believe how reason or temperance can be made whole again due to your eating. Consort with more demons, why don't you?" Vivec stabbed the wizard through his soul. The giant bug harness fell on the slave cages, and the slaves ran about free and reckless, too reckless more with pregnant words. Colors bent into the earth. Vivec created a dome-head demon to contain it all. The pocket cabal is therefore interred here forever. Let this be a cursed land where sorcery is broken and maligned. Then he picked up Muatra by the beard and left the ghostly hemisphere of the dome-head demon. On its boundaries, Vivec placed a warning and a song of entrance that contained errors in it. With mock bones of half-dead Muatra, he created the tent poles of a fortress theory, and fatal languages were imprisoned for all time. Set appeared and looked on what his brother-sister had created. The Clockwork King said, "Of the 8 monsters, this is the most confusing. May I treasure it?" Vivec gave Set leave to do so, but told him never to release the pocket cabal into the middle world. He said, "I have hidden secrets in my travels here, and made a likeness of Muatra to ward against the unwise. Under this dome, the temporal myth is no longer man." The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 27. The Scripture of the Word. First. All language is based on meat. Do not let the sophists fool you. Second, the third walking path explores hysteria without fear. The efforts of madmen are a society of itself, but only if they are written. The wise may substitute one law for another, even into incoherence, and still say he is working within a method. This is true of speech and extends to all scripture. Third, do not go to the realm of apology for absolution. Beyond articulation there is no fault. The adjacent place, where the grabbers live, is the illusion of the vocal or the middle realms of thought, by which I mean the constructed. This is how I stole the certainty of the Chancellor of Exactitude, perfect to look upon from every angle. When you come out of the vocal, you can never be certain. Fourth, the truest body of work is made up of silence, as in the silence that results from no reference. By the word, I mean the dead. Fifth, the first meaning is always hidden. Sixth, the realm of apology is perfection and impossible to attack. Thus, the wise avoid it. Trinity in unity is the world and word of action, the third walking path. Seventh, the sage who suppresses his best aphorism, cut off his hands, for he is a thief. Eighth, the clothes of the broken map are worn only by fools and heretics. The map is an exit for laziness. It is the dusty tongue, which is to say the given chart that most take as a story that is complete. No word is true until it is eaten. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 28. Then Vivec left Set to look after the dome-head demon and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provincial house he looked into the middle world to find the 5th monster, called the Ruddy Man. When the Drays ruled the world, the Daedroth prince Molag Bal had been their chief. He took a different shape then, spiny and armored and made for the sea. Vivec, in giving birth to the many spawn of his marriage, had dropped an old image of Molag Bal into the world, a dead carapace of memory. It would not have been a monster if a Velothi child had not wanted to impress his village by wearing it. The Ruddy Man of the 8 monsters was the least complicated. He made those who wore him into mighty killers and nothing more. He existed in the physical. Only geography makes him special. When Vivec found him near the boy's village, Anon-Nissus, there was a violent clash of arms and an upheaval of the earth. Their battle created the West Gash. Wanderers that still go there hear still the sounds of it. Sword across the crust, the grunt of God, the snapping of his monster child's splintered legs. After his victory, Vivec took the shell of the Ruddy Man to the Drays that had modified his mother. The Queen of Drays, whose name is not easy to spell, was in a period of self-incubation. Her wardens took the gift from Vivec and promised to guard it from the surface world. This is the first account of Drays being liars. In 10 years, the Ruddy Man appeared again, this time near Tyr, worn by a wayward shaman who followed the House of Troubles. Instead of guarding it, the Drays had imbued the living armor with mythic inflexibility. It molted soon after skill draping the shaman and stretched his bones to the 5 corners. When Vivec met the monster in battle again, he saw the remains of 3 villages dripping from its feet. He took on his giant form and slew the Ruddy Man by way of the symbolic collage. Since he no longer trusted the Altmer of the Sea, Vivec gave the carapace of the monster to the devout and loyal mystics of the Number Room. He told them, "You may make of the Ruddy Man a philosopher's armor." The mystics began by wrapping one of their sages in the shells, a series of flourishes by 2 supernumerates, one hormonally tall and the other just under his arms. They ran around the carapace and through each other, applying holy resin drawn from the carcasses of the now useless numbers between 12 and 13. Golden straws were quickly stuck through the mythic epidermal so the sage could breathe. After the ceremonial etchings were drawn into hardening resin, long lists of dead names and equations whose solutions were to be found in the mouth of the chimer inside, there came the illuminations, inscribed by the bright, terrible fingernail of Vivec. From the nail's tip flowed a searing liquid, filling the grooves of the ceremonial etchings. They bled out to form veined patterns about the sage shell that theologians would decipher forever after. The ending of the words is Alm Sevi. Sermon 29. The Scripture of the Numbers. 1. The Dragon Break, or the Tower. 1. 2. The Anon Tiamorph. 68. 3. The Invisible Gate. Alm Sevi. 112. 4. The Corners of House of Troubles. 242. 5. The Corners of the World. 100. 6. The Walking Ways, 266. 7. The Sword at the Center, 39. 8. The Wheel, or the 8 Givers, 484. 9. The Missing, 11. 10. The Tribes of the Altmer, 140. 11. The Number of the Master, 102. 12. The Heavens, 379. 13. The Serpent, 36. 14. The King's Cough, 32. 15. The Redeeming Force, 110. 16. The Acceptable Blasphemes, 12. 17. The Hurling Disc, 283. 18. The Egg, or 6 times the Wise. 19. The Provincial House, 258. 20. The Lunar Lattice, 425. 21. The Womb, 13. 22. Unknown, 453. 23. The Hollow Prophet, 54. 24. The Star Wound, 44. 25. The Emperor, 239. 26. The Rogue Plane, 81. 27. The Secret Fire, 120. 28. The Drowned Lamp, 8. 29. The Captive Sage, 217. 30. The Scarab, 10. 31. The Listening Frame, 473. 32. The False Call, 7. 33. The Anticipations, 234. 34. The Lawless Grammar, 2. 35. The Prison Shirt, 191. 36. The Hours, 364. The presence of deaf witness, this is what the numbers are. They hang on to the Arbus as the last nostalgia of their godhood. The effigies of numbers are their current applications. This is folly as above. To be affixed to a symbol is too certain. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Footnote on Sermon 29. If you associate each of the 35 listed numbers with a word in its respective sermon, a hidden message is revealed. It reads, "He was not born a god. His destiny did not lead him to this crime. He chose this path of his own free will. He stole the godhood and murdered the hortator." Vivec wrote this. Sermon 30. Then Vivec left the mystics of the number room and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provincial house he looked into the middle world to find the sixth monster, called City Face. He was vexed when he could not find it, and went back to the mourning hold in secret anger, killing a mystic that asked about higher order. Nerevar the hortator witnessed this and said, "Why do this, my lord? The mystics look to you for guidance. They work to make your temple better stoned." Vivec said, "No one knows what I am." The hortator nodded and went back to his studies. Here is how City Face hid from his mother-father. It had been born named as Ha-Not, a bare urge of power, an esoteric wind nerve turned to the frequency of huddled masses. It found root in villages and multiplied, finding in the minds of the settled a veiled astrology, the star charts of culture, and this resonance made its head swim. Ha-Not moved sideways into the adjacent place, growing and unbeknownst. Above the vocal it trembled with new emotions, immortal ones, absorbing more than the 30 known to exist in the middle world. When Ha-Not became gravely homesick, the grabbers took it. A grabber said, "New emotions to the lonely occur only of madness. This thing is gone. It is ours now." Grabbers had never made a city of their own, and their glimpse of Vivec's, which shone with holiness through all the spheres, had taken their attention. Under this reason did the issue of Vex slide into our realm, drawn by our coveting, hidden in loss. We shall build our tower hope upon its face. Now many years had passed in Resdania, and the high priests of the Dwemer were building something alike as Vivec, and alike as the new Ha-Not of the Grabbers. The hortator was engaged with an army of theirs that had become too brave, taking foolish words, and Nerevar helped destroy them with the help of the orphan legion of Iam. When he went to give trophy to Vivec, he saw his lord under attack by the City Face. The monster was saying this: "Here we are to replace your city, Vec and Vec. We are from the place of the more than known emotions, and our citizenry has died from it. Two things we came for, but can stay for only one. Either we ask you to correct our error of culture, or merely take yours by dint of force. The second is easiest, we think." Vivec sighed. You would replace my direction, he said. I weary of this, though I wanted to kill you an age before. Resdania is fallen ill, and I have no time for one more imaginary analogy of an unknown incident. Here, take this. At which he touched the tower hope of the city face and corrected the error of the grabbers. And this. At which he stabbed the heart of the city face with the ethos knife, which is to say, Rakat ie altidun I, the short blade of proper commerce. The ending of the words is Alm Sevi. This has been a reading of the 36 Lessons of Vivec, sermons 25 through 30, from the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. This has been Double Negative. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the like button. If not, then please click the dislike button. If you would like to hear more reading of the Elder Scrolls, including the thrilling conclusion to the 36 Lessons of Vivec, then please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.